Hey folks, it's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of the Rush Hour podcast. We have Epstein updates as Donald Trump is deflecting from the Epstein story, now bringing up Obama, Hillary Clinton. He says he wants Obama charged with treason, actually says he's already guilty. And at the same time, we have news coming from Alan Dershowitz, who was Trump's attorney and also Epstein's attorney. He's basically saying that if Ghislaine wants to get out of prison, they should cut her a deal in exchange for her ratting on Epstein. Again, is there anything to this? Alan Dershowitz spoke to TMZ. Here's what he had to say.
You said, and it sure made sense to me, that the key to this case is Ghislaine Maxwell, and that Congress should give her some form of use immunity to get her to talk, because you said she has all the secrets. My question to you is, what's in it for her to do that if all she gets is use immunity? What about cutting her a deal with the sentence she currently has?
Well, that should be done. The sentence she currently has is not a sentence that was really imposed on her. It was imposed on the dead Jeffrey Epstein. You don't get 20 years for being an assistant or a secretary, even if there were serious crimes. And she had nothing to do with any alleged trafficking. In any event, she should have her sentence commuted. She should be given total immunity, called before Congress, and she'll tell everything.
Now, listen, I mean, I would love this to be the case. Now, you might say, well, no, she should be rotting in prison for the crimes. It's like, look, if that's the deal they have to do, get her out of prison in order to get a hold of all of the other Johns, right? The men out there that were committing all of these crimes associated with Epstein. I'm all for it, because I don't believe Ghislaine Maxwell is going to be a threat to anybody at this point. And again, like they said, she's in prison because Epstein's dead and they needed to kind of like pin it on somebody. But is she going to be willing to talk? That's the main question.
Knows everything. She made all the reservations. When I had to fly down to represent him in front of the Palm Beach District Attorney's office or in front of the U.S. Attorney's office, she's the one who made the arrangements. She knows who was on his plane. She knows who was innocent. If there were any guilty people, she knows who they are. And if you gave her complete immunity and let her out of prison and made a deal with her, this would solve the problem forever. The real problem is that because Jeffrey Epstein is dead, there's no one to hold responsible except her. And so she has borne the brunt of his wrongdoing, even though she was not responsible anywhere near the degree to which he was.
I hear your point about her sentence being too long, but she was held accountable, and now you're saying release her. I'm not sure how that's going to go over with the public.
No, I agree. It's a difficult decision to make, but she's already served a long period of time. We're not going to get the whole story unless Ghislaine Maxwell is prepared to testify as to the whole story.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's just one of those things. Why, if she knows something, why would she tell people what she knows without getting something in return? So again, we'll have to see if that's what happens. I'm holding my breath. Now we've got the response coming in from Democrats like Representative Jim Himes. They are being told to go home. They are supposed to or wanted to vote on the Epstein files. They had Republicans, a real bipartisan issue. People came together and said, let's vote to release the Epstein files. And instead, Magic Mike Johnson says, you know what? We're just going to send everybody home instead. So they're taking a vacation instead of doing the work our taxpayers pay for them to do. Have a listen.
So in the you can't make this stuff up category, we just got word that the Congress of the United States, or at least the House of Representatives, is shutting down for the summer. We were supposed to get some work done. We were supposed to do the federal budget. We've got wars in the Middle East. We've got the fact that the Republicans just threw 10 million people off of their health care by adding $3.5 trillion to the deficit. But we're going home. Why are we going home? And this is the you can't make it up part. Because the Speaker doesn't want Republican members having to answer the question of why they won't vote to release the Epstein files. Now, I have no idea what's in the Epstein files, and I frankly don't really care all that much. What I do care is that this government should be doing its work. But the Republicans have so wrapped themselves around the axle of an absurd conspiracy theory involving the deep state and cover-ups and this, that now when they can't produce the evidence, they need to shut down the Congress of the United States. This is a great country. It deserves something better than this.
I agree. Here's Crystal Ball, one of my favorite political pundits from Breaking Point, discussing more sinister stories coming out of Trump and a very disgusting party that he threw with underage women.
There was significant reporting both from The Guardian and the New York Times about this party thrown for Jeffrey Epstein specifically in the 90s. Trump asked this guy, whose name is Horane, how could that be real? I don't know. But anyway, he ran this American Dream Calendar Girls beauty contest, and Trump asked him to fly in a bunch of the girls at Trump's expense to Mar-a-Lago. Their ages 16 to 22. Pretext here was, I'm going to gather all of these VIPs and elites from the modeling world. This will give these girls a chance to mingle with all of these wealthy individuals who can help make their careers. The only guest at the party is Jeffrey Epstein. So it's Trump, it's Epstein, and it's all of these girls aged 16 to 22.
By the way, where's the, and I'm not doubting this report here, but you would think there'd be some witnesses that would come forward. You know, I understand in the past why a lot of people haven't come forward, because they get met with lawsuits, they get death threats, it's all this crazy stuff. But are the tides turning? Are enough people coming forward to share stories that we can finally put this thing to bed? Well, Donald Trump, he is the master deflector. And here he is calling for President Obama and other officials to be investigated. You know, what's interesting is I'm playing this clip here from an Instagram page called Real News No Bullshit. And this page gave Trump like a 65% approval rating or whatever just 6 months ago. Now, not the page itself, but in polling their audience, that approval rating has cratered to like 20 or 30%. So even the Republican heavy Instagram and social media accounts are seeing through this bullshit.
When we caught Hillary Clinton, I said, you know what? Let's not go too far here. It's the ex-wife of a president, and I thought it was sort of terrible. And I let her off the hook, and I'm very happy I did. But it's time to start, after what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught directly.
Tulsi Gabbard has submitted a criminal referral to the Department of Justice. From your perspective, who should the DOJ target as part of their investigation? What specific figures in the Obama administration?
Well, based on what I read, and I read pretty much what you read, it would be President Obama. He started it. And Biden was there with him, and Comey was there, and Clapper. The whole group was there.
The whole group.
Brennan, they were all there in a room. Right here.
They were there like it was a model party with a bunch of 16-year-olds. They were all there. I tell you what, it was interesting.
This was the room. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election.
There it is. He said, it's there. He's guilty. Well, who needs to put it to trial? Trump says Obama is guilty. Well, what do we have here? There's Jesse Waters, a real just despicable human, if you ask me. And he's talking to Lindsey Graham as to whether or not this grand jury indictment would come in Washington, D.C.
And we know all about D.C. grand juries. What do you think the chances are of an indictment coming for Brennan, Comey, Barack Obama, or any of these guys?
Probably like me being in the NBA. And
there it is, folks. Comedy hour. So again, and I think what he's meaning is he doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell. We have a response from Obama, and Obama said that basically they don't comment on most stuff because it's so ridiculous, but they said they had to. Out of respect for the office of the presidency, our office does not normally dignify the constant nonsense and misinformation flowing out of this White House with a response. But these claims are outrageous, enough to merit one. These bizarre allegations are ridiculous and a weak attempt at distraction. And again, the information is out there. There was, bipartisan studies that were done. Rubio and other folks on the right all put their rubber stamp on what went down, which is that Russia tried to interfere with the election. They had misinformation campaigns. They had Russian troll farms, but they did not hack into the system and actually change votes. Here is what Stephen Colbert, soon to be canceled, Stephen Colbert, has to say about Trump's obsession with Obama.
Of course, whenever Trump is backed into a corner, he needs to change the subject and throw red meat to the carnivorous base. And their favorite cut is filet of Obama. Here's Trump earlier today being asked about the ongoing Epstein scandal.
Yeah, I don't know about it. I don't really follow that too much. It's sort of a witch hunt, just a continuation of the witch hunt. The witch hunt that you should be talking about is they caught President Obama absolutely cold. Now, we found this isn't like evidence this is like proof, irrefutable proof that Obama was sedacious.
Wow.
But the funniest part is just nobody believes him. Nobody. It's the boy who cried wolf times 1,000. Everyone's like, oh, cool, Grandpa, you got proof? You got proof that the president committed treason? Oh, that's nice. Let's put you back to bed.
Wow. I mean, it takes extraordinary confidence to call a former president sedacious, because that is not a word.
There it is. Fact-checking by soon-to-be-canceled Stephen Colbert. And in other news with the economy, we're focusing in on the results of the tariffs. GM shares T-boned by tariffs. The stock is diving 7% after the auto giant reported a 32% slump in quarterly profits due to a $1.1 billion hit from Trump's tariffs, which GM says will worsen. So not looking too good for the car industry there. And again, this is how it works, right? These tariffs, they have a delay. They take a while to go from, policy to actually like people's pockets, right? And tariffs are paid for by Americans. They're taxes on Americans, middle class, really the working class, because, sure, these companies that import these products, they pay the tariff, but then they pass it down to us. And whether it's a 10% tariff or in some of these countries, at that short amount of time with China, 130%, like what are they even talking about with these? Are they just pulling these numbers out of their ass? And again, there's still, we've still yet to see the devastating results of all that. All right, well, there's your roundup for the day, or for the morning, I should say. We'll be back this afternoon, as we are twice a day, every day. We got pop culture and politics, everything you asked for, and more. We'll see you then. I'm Dave, and this is The Rush.